So I recently found a copy of a lost game, which was cancelled in 2009 after it was like 95% complete with development, not like uncovered. I don't know what happened to it, but sometimes you do get hardware limitations of the Xbox 360. That's why today I installed an emulator on my computer and started running the game. It runs perfectly fine, but let's see if it's worth the hype. Now, as you can see, there's only a drawn storyboard for the cutscenes, and you can see they did fully animate or pre-animate the characters involved. So what we see is Green Lantern on Warworld, where he's fighting Mongol. And yes, this is the Hal Jordan version. And I don't know, there's like this underlying irony being raised as a Dutch kid in the 2000s whenever they say Mongol.
Mongol! Hey! Like the Mongol!
Yes, Mongol isn't a happy word, guys, in Dutch. In Dutch it actually means mentally handicapped person. But that's enough for the lessons of Dutch today. So what I noticed immediately while being put on Warworld was that there was a placeholder for Solomon Grundy. However, this is only in this specific mission. Beyond that, Grundy is always himself. Now the subtitles half of the time don't match up with what's being spoken, but that's what you can expect for something that's like in half development. Also, you might be able to recognize the NPCs I'm fighting right here. If you're familiar with Green Lantern lore, you know that these are actually Manhunters, the very first attempt of the Guardians to create something to defend the universe with. So after taking down Solomon Grundy, as well as the other character which might be put there as a placeholder, you are put up against Mongol. Also, you have a partner system in this game, which sometimes allows you to pick your partner freely. While in this chapter you're basically forced to play as Green Lantern and Superman as your pack, which makes sense because in the comics he can cross halfway across the galaxy in a flash, which the Flash cannot do because he needs oxygen, I guess. So you kick Mongol's yellow butt and then you summon one of the Guardians, who decides to imprison him on his own planet. So Mongol gets angry, Guardian does a meme before it was popular, Jordan flies off and Mongol threatens to kill every single person he ever loved. So the voice actor of Mongol is actually pretty good, despite of like half the characters in this game not having their OG voice yet, or having corrupted voice files. Also, I love how angry he looks, please make it a meme. So let's take a step back and take a look at the menu. There was supposed to be a multiplayer mode as well. And despite of Martian Manhunter being in the game and having super awesome powers, he's actually not playable and actually functions as the oracle to the Batman. So apparently Double Helix developed this game in order for it to coincide with a movie that never came out. It fell through just like Justice League Mortal, and well, things falling through is a story as ancient as time itself with DC fanboys. I mean, that happens all the time, and imagine spending 2 years of your life on a game that gets cancelled. Anyways, ramblings aside, this game would have also had many unlocks, like skins or alternate characters would support you in versus mode. You could also upgrade the 5 main characters for the story mode. However, the menu is kinda cracked and unfinished, lol. Now we take a look in the story mode menu and we see that there are 3 chapters. So I already went through mission 1, which basically sets up the story and foreshadows what's going to happen at the end. Now for some strange reason the final round has the last 3 missions in it, also Thy Name is Mongol and One Nation Under Zod. So yeah, the character symbols in the left corners always symbolize which characters you can pick in that particular mission. Talking about missions, let's talk about the second one, where you go to the Watchtower of the Justice League, which is being invaded by ninjas, which could be of the League of Shadows. Now the Green Lantern game for the Xbox 360 and PS3 adds a bit to the lore that the movie was trying to depict. So I don't know if the Reverse Flash, aka Ibarton, aka Professor Zoom, was playing a bigger role in the movie or was already captured for a pre-established universe that they wanted to build. Anyways, the ninjas tried to release Professor Zoom, who is held on the Watchtower. Now it doesn't matter how much booty you kick, it's scripted that he'll teleport off. Teleportation is quite the important part of the storyline. And yes, I do honestly think that this game suffers from Aquaman syndrome, referring to Battle for Atlantis. A beat 'em up only defined by the powers of the heroes you yield. Quite repetitive, not that creative, not that challenging, and I do notice that DC fans want a challenge. The Batman Arkham series was as successful as it was because it was challenging to the player. You needed to use your brain. Anyways, gameplay aside, let's look at the story that the game took me through. Interestingly enough, you fight Omax who have Blue Beetle tech. Now, there is actually a building of court right next to Wayne and Luthor. Now, it's never made really clear if the technology is from alien origin, because I know there's a timeline where Ted Kord develops a variant of the more developed suit, but I also know that there's a variant where in the universe the more developed suit is from alien origin. Another little interesting detail I wanted to note is that the Wayne family appears to have gained their wealth in this universe also through the pharmaceutical complex. I also managed to note that Enigma, as well as Freeze and Cobblepot, you know from the Batman Rogue Gallery, who doesn't know him, have stores right next to Wayne Enterprise, which might indicate that this version of Batman, or Bruce Wayne, rehabilitates his opponents to give them a chance again in society. Which I think is very well deserved for Victor Freeze as well as Edward Nygma, but Cobblepot, I think he's too greedy to rehabilitate. Now this game was cancelled in the year that Arkham Asylum was released, so it was before the Riddler was a threatening villain. He was just high on his ego, and unfortunately that didn't change throughout the Arkham series. So there's an element being stolen from Wayne Industries. This is also being used for the Beetle androids. This of course is part of a larger organized plan. As you might be able to see, there is a yellow illuminating from the Beetles. Now, if you are familiar with Lantern lore, you might be able to recognize this as Sinestro core energy, aka fear energy. In some universes this is also used to power the Manhunters, but that is not made clear. That's just an open answer. Then it is revealed who is behind the break-in. It's Sinestro with his ugly ass purple face. Hey, don't worry guys, I ain't got nothing against purple people. Except for Barney. I hate Barney. Oh wait, he's not even a person. Oops. So then we show Sinestro why he ain't a Superman villain, and then he snitches on his homie. He's sharing or talking to himself or something, and saying something about a quote-unquote Kryptonian.
The Omax are every bit as deadly as the Kryptonian promised.
I don't know, I always laugh when other people laugh too. I know I look ridiculous, but you know what? Everything for the show, guys. Some of the voice actors are still beta. Not like I'm the alpha and they're like beta. Not the Indian word for son. But more so that Sinestro sounds like a little kid, the nerds, who gets bullied at school and is like, you know what, I'm gonna avenge myself onto the world. Meh. Also, for some reason, this game is called Green Lantern Justice League game in the credits. Thanks, Mr. Fabulous or Mr. Awesome or something. The credits are still not fully done yet, so it's a little bit goofballish. Anyways, let's continue. So you beat the absolute living crap out of Sinestro, and as he fumbles onto the ground, it is actually revealed that he has been cooperating with Cyborg Superman.
Took you long enough. I've got the package. Let's go.
I am always pecking, but I guess some of us just aren't as lucky.
Wait, what the fuck am I saying?
Guys, stay off of the orange kryptonite.
Unfortunately, he just helped Sinestro escape.
I am so not used to that voice of Superman.
Sinestro has taken a sample of Nantox.
Okay, so that was the element that Wayne Industries was developing. Anyways, time for the next mission. We can pick from Batman and the Flash. And obviously I picked the Flash because fuck you Batman, you've got enough games. So in this level, you're in Gotham, where you notice that the ninjas were bestowed with the power of eyes. Now, I'm not completely familiar with this, but it appears like they only have the technology, but magic in the DC universe isn't far-fetched either. So they used this against the Water and Power Company? and you have to dismantle these bombs which are placed in Gotham. Also, the game was really laggy during this level, played it multiple times, and ironically enough, this time during recording, it wasn't actually that fast, so it's kind of disappointing on one hand, but on the other hand, yeah, that's okay, I expect it. So as it turns out, Lady Shiva is hired to take me out, not for dinner unfortunately, and even though ice is everywhere, she be making me feel warm, deep inside. I know guys, I got riz. Anyways, we dismantled the bombs on a few locations, but of course it was a smokescreen in order to capture us. We punch her in the crotch a couple of 100 times and she goes down, but of course, like a pussy, she teleports out of there. Next stop, Metropolis Station. So this is where, for some inexplicable reason, you meet Bane, being Wonder Woman. I like her combat, so I chose her. Anyways, in a real fight, well, her fist would be straight through Bane's skull, adding 2 extra holes. Also, Wonder Woman, her voice here sounds like one of the Dark clones, which we'll encounter later in the game. So Bane runs away with his tail in between his legs. This is while I'm still thinking about the previous mission where the Flash basically could have finished it all in 2 seconds, if he really wanted to. This really makes me wonder, is the League just play acting? Is everyone except for Batman just being politically correct so Batman won't have his feelings hurt? So then Solomon Grundy ambushes us, but of course because the writers hate him, he gets his ass whooped. So we make ourselves a way to Central Park. This is where Solomon Grundy ambushes us again. This is because he really likes dominant women and really likes being their punching bag. That's a joke.
No, Grundy doesn't.
Get friend-zoned!
So as it turns out, Grundy is being influenced by some sort of radio technology. So then Grundy gets back up, but Wonder Woman didn't touch anything there, that's BS. She tanked all of that. Just like how I thank you for staying for like 12 minutes. Thank you. So Grundy gets smashed by a rock and Bane watches idly by from a rooftop. This is when we fly there and I really like the little birdies departing from the tree. So then we kick the crap out of Bane and destroy the machine responsible for giving Grundy extra superpower. So then we beat the crap out of Bane again, because boss characters usually have 2 or 3 health bars. And as you can hear, Bane summons Grundy. Would it be sadistic for me to say that I like how motionlessly he falls? Then Grundy is reborn, because I guess that's kind of his gimmick. It looks really cursed for some reason. So we jump down and the mantra continues. Only this time I used the invisible airplane and blew him to smithereens. Absolute smithereens. And once more our opponents are teleported out. Martian Manhunter is reporting in that he's working on finding the source and trying to disable it. The next level is Coast City, otherwise known as the hometown of Green Lantern Hal Jordan. This is where you fight the androids, Omex, once again. This is where we see some sort of museum dedicated to Oa being destroyed by Sinestro. This is indirectly, however, because of how he positions the androids. Omex. Damn it, I'm stupid. Anyways, we follow Sinestro through the city, and as it turns out, he has a bomb planted. This is of course right underneath the Green Lantern statue, because he is full of envy. So we beat him up, and we actually don't see him teleport this time. We can actually arrest him, even though his ring would allow him to teleport. If he was creative enough at least. So then he gets interrogated with the lasso of truth. As we ask him what put him up to this, he says he doesn't remember and that he erased the memory from his mind. Chapter 2 starts off in the National Park of Metropolis. This is where we encounter Manhunters as well as Cyborg Superman, who for some reason is highly obsessed with rebuilding Krypton on Earth. That's why the crystals are there. We have to also destroy those. But only the ones with the purple lines in it, because those are the fertile ones, I guess. Yeah, I know, scientifically it doesn't make any sense. It feels more like WWE with superpowers, honestly. Also, Cyborg Superman has a super lame attack. If you're hit once, there's no way you can counter it, and you'll die almost instantly. It's a very deadly combo. It's almost like he's compensating for losing his organic balls. So you beat up Cyborg Superman, and sometimes, even though you complete the objective, certain parts or elements of the game just won't load, or take a while. Also, I have no idea why Cyborg Superman is so obsessed with Krypton. He might have used technology from Krypton as well as DNA that's Kryptonian to rebuild his body, but he was never at Krypton. So we beat him up, he preaches a bit from his manifesto, and then he teleports away again. So I guess they fixed it, but Sinestro is never seen again in the story. Guess they held him in some sort of like magical field. I mean, Zatanna is mentioned a few times in the story. Anyways, if that's not the case, moral is, choose your friends wisely. The next level has my favorite design in the game, together with Themis. I'm not saying it's intellectually written by the way, but I think it adds something special. This is the Museum of the Flash, in Central City of course. It even has a statue dedicated to Kid Flash. And it even has a small rogue gallery dedicated to the Flash, his most well-known foes. Who says crime doesn't pay? You'll either become famous or be put in a museum. What the hell, man? So after you're done beating up your foes and destroying half of your own museum, the Reverse Flash shows up once again. Also, the Flash calls him his evil twin, which usually just really isn't the case. It never happened to my knowledge, but hey, who knows? Because the DC writers have this normality of going with rewrites of characters we're all used to. So we beat up the Reverse Flash a bit, have a civilized discussion about copyright issues, we get a little Easter egg to a movie from Steven Spielberg based on a real story about an imposter who uses the identity of Barry Allen in order to like scam people, and then the Reverse Flash teleports out of there using a mirror. Then we use the Cosmic Treadmill in order to travel back 50 seconds in time. And yes, this still has QuickTime events. Also, I love the reference to Gorilla Grodd / Planet of the Apes. Oh yes, and next to that I'd like to give a big complaint about Professor Zoom, who comes from the future. But I don't know, maybe in this timeline he's just Jewish or something, because they live in the year 5800 or something. Whatever. So, for some miraculous reason, even though it's canon that Professor Zoom literally ran from the future to the past, you know, he's like, huh? The Flash? How did you manage to run from one side of the room to the other side of the room? I don't know. I picked the Flash as playable character, and I have no idea why he was so shocked. It's just stupid. That, like, he's literally the fastest man alive. Blink and he ran all the way across the planet. In the comics he like had the ability to like do that 5 times over in that time period, but you know what? I don't care anymore. Anyways, this version of the Reverse Flash can be Hunter Solomon or Ibarton. The difference is that Hunter Solomon isn't a time traveler and is from an alternate Earth, which means he doesn't need to take his own birth into accountability, meaning he can cause all the chaos he wants to without consequence. But him not understanding the Speed Force is beyond stupid. So we beat him up and we take him in with the Green Lantern construct. Now the villains unfortunately aren't creative enough to escape, but at least he rats out the person he's collaborating with. So the next mission is called Storming the Castle. Look guys, I'm playing Batman! So you beat up some shadow clones made out of magic, who taunt the heroes insecurity issues, and that's basically it. Oh yeah, and Zatanna is mentioned as well. Also, why does this Batman have the chin of Ben Affleck before he actually played him? So the next level is Morgan Le Fay's castle. After you storm it, I don't know why this couldn't be part of the same mission. Anyways, it feels like it's impossible to beat with Superman. I got my booty handed to me time after time. I hadn't upgraded Superman at that point though, so it makes sense, and he's actually weak against magic until he's not, just like Kryptonite, and then he lifts an island of it. Anyways, Le Fay is also super annoying. She can spam Inferno, Poison and Freeze attacks and zone you out while you're also having to fight against these shadow clones. Also, Batman is stupidly OP in this game. For some reason, one battle rank can destroy a solid stone wall. One Batman punch can destroy a solid wooden door. Either he's swallowing pills with Kryptonian nanotech, or this is his wet dream. Considering that Batman can literally summon a tornado out of his hands, I would kinda go with option 2 myself. You destroy the cauldron? Cauldron? Yeah, you know what I mean. Which prevents Le Fay from summoning magic plot device. So there you beat her up because that's what we do in this game. And then she confesses that someone promised her Merlin's Book of Spells, because she's self-serving. So then she teleports away, and this is kinda getting old. Okay, I didn't even read the subtitles there, but even Batman agrees with me. So the next place is Themyscira. This is also where Wonder Woman is from. So this map also has my favorite aesthetic. I love the design of the map, it's very tropical, it really takes me there. So as we land, we quickly find out that our Amazonian friends are actually corrupted. This is Bai, a very underused villain from the Wonder Woman Rogue Gallery. Also, please let us have a moment to admire the scenery, because I appreciate it very much. And I think that there's a lot of respect that went into the environment and the design of it. Yeah, I can really appreciate that a lot. As well as the statue, I think that's also pretty awesome. So then we destroy some crystals from Eclipso. Wow, try saying that 5 times fast. Anyways, this breaks the spell, and we beat up Eclipso while we're at it, who of course teleports away, and I'm getting really tired of this. Jeez. So the next level is Batman being possessed by the same spell from Eclipso. So we destroy the crystals, and then we destroy Batman momentarily, who is way too strong, absolutely. Then you free him, and he says the following.
You weren't holding back.
Against you, it wouldn't be wise.
It's a normal man with no superpowers in a zombie state. I'm so tired of the entire league being nerfed in favor of Batman. Yes, with dirty little tricks, he might be able at some points to take certain specific allies down. Maybe even all of them, if he's sneaky about it. That's kind of his thing, you know. But not hand to hand. That's insane and ridiculous. Maybe if you have some sort of plot device, yeah, sure, maybe then it's possible, but normally it's just not imaginable. Maybe if they explained that the Nantox give Bruce super abilities, then this would be excusable, more excusable. Maybe that's part of the story or something, but I guess we unfortunately will never know. When the enemy is rock, you have to be water. Or paper, I guess, whatever. Anyways, next level. Cyborg Superman Hank Hershaw breaks into the Watchtower in order to steal the Phantom Zone projector. Despite of you beating him up, you won't be able to secure it. Of course he'll teleport away, but this time you'll be able to go to Warworld because this is where the signal is traced to, because of Martian Manhunter. Thank you, bud. Also, everyone from the League can breathe there for some reason. So I guess they also have oxygen there and they also speak English? Whatever. I ain't asking questions no more. Also, in Warworld, your partner is physically there. I mean, to a certain extent, he's just standing there like a chili pepper. So you beat up the villains who previously escaped, which actually has a bit more variety to it because of all the traps that are everywhere. Also, Bizarro Superman is there for some reason, I don't know. They probably got him out of the Phantom Zone or something. Talking about the Phantom Zone, this appears to be the only methodology for Mongol to escape from his planet, Warworld, where he was imprisoned earlier by one of the Guardians. So after you're done with the normal villains, Mongol his defense system is going up. This could be easy, but the lag over here also was kind of bad. And I discovered this glitch, which was kind of really funny. There, look, the whole map is visible. Because I got knocked out of the map as Wonder Woman as I did a special attack. Also, there was this other glitch which I thought was really funny, making Mongol look like a little baby in his little throne. Also, to get back to the Phantom Zone. Now, as it turns out, they made friends with General Zod over there, probably because of Cyborg Superman negotiating with him because of New Krypton, which, as you might remember, Cyborg Superman tried to make on Earth. So then Mongol goes into the Phantom Zone, you fight him together with Zod, you beat him up as you have done with all the villains, then Mongol's Day of Reckoning is there, because he'll be judged by the Guardians once again, and he'll be entrapped within the Phantom Zone, where, for eternity, he'll probably be General Zod, his little plaything. So yeah, there are a few things about the game that just don't make any sense. Am I happy I found it? Sure. It's a bit too repetitive for my liking. Not every alternate version of the character is meant to change the world. You know, some of them have a really good story. Some of them can change this world for the better. But you know what? Not all of them are intellectually written. Yeah, it's 3 AM. I'm recording this at 3 AM. Anyways, yeah, thank you for watching. I hope you have a wonderful day and Happy New Year and all of that good stuff. yeah, well, thanks for watching and subscribe or something like that. Whatever.